All right, so what are we going to do? Well, so Friday was my dear wife's birthday, and she said we should do something for Quarantiki that goes with her birthday. So I asked her, well, what drinks do you like? And she said, well, I like coconut cream. I'm like, oh, okay. And I think friends of ours got us some new coffee liqueur, so we should use that. So I went, okay.
I'm
So
gonna
we've
hit the
got
camera.
multiple things that we are going to do this evening, one of which involves coconut cream, and two of which are going to involve coffee. One actually calls for coffee brandy, and the other actually calls for coffee. And we're going to ignore both of those, and we are going to use coffee liqueur that is brought to us by, sorry, we're having technical accidents over here as people try and like there's anybody else here besides me and my wife trying to set this up. Our friends Dave and Chris got us, yes, Dave and Chris, yes, got us a bottle of Mr. Black coffee liqueur, and it comes highly recommended. And oddly enough, we were watching How to Drink this morning, and the very first episode we tuned to, Greg was using Mr. Black. Mr. Black was sponsoring, so it seemed like it was a thing that had to be done. Right, so we're going to do that. What else? What else has happened? Um,
I had a birthday.
you had a birthday, yes.
We went bowling.
We went bowling, and apparently we're old because we needed all day yesterday to recover from going bowling. So yeah, that's interesting, I guess.
Yeah.
Give me my cane.
It's upstairs.
Okay. All right. What else did we get? So there's a.
I got presents.
She did. She got lots of presents
from former live studio audience guests, Virginia T. Maven and He Who Mixes. And I failed on Pooch's "You should open it before the show."
That's all right. I failed to get my jiggers out, so I have no jiggers.
Oh, okay.
Here,
so I got some little beach glasses. It says "Beach, please." And it's 5 o'clock somewhere, which will make great punch and or water glasses for tiki nights. So, yay. Or, and look, it comes with a little...
Yeah, those will go great for tiki drinks while we're sitting in the hot tub.
Yeah, and it's got little
trees that pinch on. That's terribly cute.
That's terribly cute.
It's terribly, terribly cute.
Yeah. So. Or if we ever go to the beach, like we canceled Delta, and we could take these with us. So, that's what I got for my birthday. And other things.
So one of the other things that we got over the last week was a replacement for the Tiki banana liqueur. And apparently, I don't know, I'd mentioned that Tempest Fugit makes good stuff. So we now have the Tempest Fugit banana cream. And of course, we still have a little bit of the Ducoupier,
I don't know.
Dickie's creme de banana. So I thought one of the things we would do is to start off the toasting this evening.
Do a taste test between them?
We do a taste test this evening. Yeah, how's that sound?
Okay.
Do you want to close your eyes? All right, so this there, this there. All right, so I think we're going to start you off with we'll start you off with that one. How's that?
Smells like overripe bananas.
Well, that's good. If it smelled like avocados, that would be bad. Or melon.
My eyes now.
No.
Okay. Smells yummy. Heavy mouthfeel.
Oh.
So it tastes like a mix of just starting to turn Cavendish and the little bananas. Like a mix of those two. This smells like Laffy Taffy banana. That tastes like Laffy Taffy banana. I'm thinking that one is Tempest Fusion. If not, I'm really disappointed.
Okay, well, you can open your eyes now. And in fact, yes, the reason I wouldn't let you open your
Oh,
eyes
because you
is
could tell.
there's a significant color difference between these two. One is yellow, one is brown.
Yeah.
Right?
So that one is that. I mean, I like Laffy Taffy Banana, but
Maybe not in a cocktail.
it's Laffy Taffy
It is-
Banana.
it is
it's
so
artificial
it is
banana.
artificial
It is
banana.
not banana.
It's very sweet.
It is very sweet.
Wow, that is so artificial banana.
Yeah.
That is, like you say, Laffy Taffy. That really bad banana pudding.
There's bad banana pudding.
There's bad banana pudding, yes.
I know no such thing.
This
Yeah.
this does not smell like that.
Yeah, that's yummy. Okay, big difference.
A toast to good booze. May we always be in a position to be drinking good booze and not have to be drinking bad booze. How's that? There you go. Oh, that is so much more like real banana. Oh my gosh, that is really, really good.
Colleen says happy birthday, Star. Amanda Albert says happy birthday. Love you alls too.
That's some terribly, terribly good banana. And yeah, I'm going to have to find out something to do with the decoupier because I don't know if I can go back. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that anymore. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. All right, so what shall we do this evening? We're going to do 3 drinks. We're going to do the White Cloud, which is one of the drinks that Star picked out from the Total Tiki app that has coconut cream in it that we have not gotten around to doing. So we're going to go ahead and do a White Cloud. It was either that or do yet another Trade Winds. And while the Trade Winds is quite possibly one of Star's favoriteest drinks in the world, I'm bored, right? I didn't want to do another one of those. So we're going to go with the White Cloud instead. So the White Cloud is actually a pretty basic drink and comes to us from 1944. So 1944, we had Don Beach, and Don Beach is running his bar, and he's got a bunch of Filipino bartenders working behind the bar. And one of those bartenders is Mariano Licundine, Licudine. I don't know how to pronounce that last name, and I've never seen anything that tells me how to pronounce it, so I'm going to have to figure that one out. But Mariano went and created a series of different notebooks that detailed drinks that he was working on or drinks that he was serving. And this was, so Jeff Beachbum Berry finally got a look at these old notebooks from Mariano. And this was one of the drinks that was actually detailed in there so that the recipe for the White Cloud was not lost to the ravages of time. So we have the actual recipe for the White Cloud. This is a small format cocktail. So there's a ½ ounce of coconut cream, a ½ ounce of lime juice, and an ounce of some rum, and then there's a little orange liqueur in it. So this is not very big. And as a consequence, I'm going to make a double of this, and then we're going to throw this into a couple of small brandy snifters, because I think that'll work. So, what are we going to start with? We are going to start with coconut cream. I know what you're saying. You're saying, Pooch, that's a bottle of Coco Real. What kind of tiki aficionado are you? You're not using Coco Lopez. And I would say, you are wrong. You are mistaken. Your visual sensors are not telling you everything you need to know. See, I just like the squeeze bottle. I've refilled this with Coco Lopez. So yeah, I'm using Coco Lopez here. So what we need is a full ounce.
We have a
of
hey
coconut
kids,
Lopez.
happy tiki time.
Hey, is that Mom and Larry coming
That
in?
is.
Excellent. All right, so full ounce here. Now normally this would be a ½ ounce, but again, I'm making a double. So we're going to go a full ounce of this coconut cream. Just a little on the thick side. It has been sitting out on the counter just a little bit to loosen it up. This is the problem with coconut cream, is that it is very thick, very thick, and wow. Okay, so this is thick. Yep, thick. thick. Yeah, this would be better if there was music playing, but the music seems to have reached a lull right at the really inopportune time that I'm pouring this really slow, gloppy. All right, come on. We're gonna just reach in here with the finger. I don't recommend you doing this if you're running a professional bar. Make sure your fingers are clean, definitely, before you do this. You know, apparently I've not scratched anything that I shouldn't be scratching before doing this. All right, so that gets most of it out. Most. So this is pretty messy still in there, which is why I start with a really sweet, thick ingredient, is because now I can dump other ingredients in here and clean out that jigger. The next ingredient is lime juice. And again, it would be a ½ ounce of lime juice. So we're going to double that. We're going to go with a full ounce. And yes, I do love these wonderful little jiggers from OXO. They're metal jigger, and they are marked on the inside in both tablespoons and ounces, all the way from a ¼ ounce all the way up to 2 ounces. So they're very, very handy for doing this sort of thing. And because I've only got an ounce in here, I can kind of swirl this around, get a little bit more of that coconut cream out. We do need an orange component of this. And so we're going to go with our usual standard. I could reach for triple sec. If you had some Cointreau is what's actually called in the recipe. But for goodness sake, I mean, we're talking orange liqueur. Use what you would like or what you happen to have on hand. And I happen to have dry curacao always right here at my hand, so I'm going to use that. We're only going with a ¼ ounce, so the tiniest little bit here. Except that, of course, what are we doing? We're doubling, right? Doubling. Right. Like, come on.
Sorry.
Come on, studio audience.
Sorry. I forgot I'm speaking for multiple people.
Right, so ¼ ounce doubled is a ½ ounce. Once again, fractions are fun. And then what are we going to do for rum? Well, the classic rum for this is a lightly aged Puerto Rican rum. And so what are we going to do? Well, we're going to go with a rum that you can only get from Puerto Rico. Thank you, Gwen. This is the Striver cask seasoned Puerto Rican rum. And it is still only available on the island, which should tell you where she got it, which is on the island. And we are going to go with 2 ounces. Because it normally calls for 1 ounce, so we're doubling that. Okay, so 2 ounces. So if you're following along at home and you wanted to make a single of this, it's a ½ ounce of coconut cream, a ½ ounce of lime, a ¼ ounce of curacao, and 1 ounce of Puerto Rican rum. What are we going to do with this? Well, first of all, we're going to put the rum in the glass. That would be a good thing. All right. Ting, ting, ting. With the trolley. And then we're going to add some ice, and we're going to shake this. Simple cubes, shake, pour into strainer. Pour into strainer? Pour into snifter. Although we are going to strain this. Throw some ice in there. We don't want those little ice crunchies. We want this nice and smooth. Okay. Ice, drink, lid that up. Shaky shakies. Is that cold enough yet? Nope. Yep.
So Gwen says you're welcome.
Thank you, Gwen.
Probably in her rock voice.
I can just imagine Gwen sitting at home watching this going, "You're welcome," in the great Moana voice that only The Rock can do appropriately.
And Amanda said, I've been wondering what to mix this scryer with. I hope this turns out nice.
Oh, it'll be terrible. It'll be awful, I'm sure. Not. Snifter glass. Strained. Nice and white and pretty.
She left it that.
Wow. So this doesn't even make a full, the double doesn't even make a full snifter. Right. So I shouldn't have dug out a second snifter glass. We can just do that. Just like that. There you go. there is no canonical garnish for this. And we've only got really lime juice in there. So we could do like a desiccated lime wheel. Can we
do a flour?
We could do a flour. Yeah, that would be easy.
Yeah.
Because
we have some.
We still have some. They're maybe not as pretty as they once were, but they're still there. We're not eating them, so I'm not worried about anything. I'd be worried about, you know, food safety if we were actually going to be eating these. Oh, that's very pretty, right?
Yeah.
What do you think? So let me clean that up just a tad. So there you go. There's the white cloud. It's got a little, it's not a carnation.
Orchid.
Orchid, that's the word I'm looking for. Orchid in there. And now, since I made this drink 4-star, apparently it's awful. It's terrible.
Do I taste before I wander away with it?
Or should I make my own? Is that what the case is going to be? That is quite lovely. It is surprising to me the amount of orange that comes through on that.
Yeah.
There is only a 1/4 ounce of orange in there, and that really comes through. Very strange in that it comes through quite as strong as it does. Huh. So, given that, I am curious.
Keith says happy birthday in message because he's in Facebook jail.
Is he in Facebook jail again? Oh, poor Keith. That's what you get for baiting those guys.
Your mom wants one too.
Oh, you know, dear mom, you're the one that took off, so I don't know. You left. You were here. You could have had one. You did make it for one Quarantiki, and that was quite nice. So if you did not tune in last week, you totally missed my mom as part of the studio audience, which, you know, that's, as far as I'm concerned, is absolutely your loss. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to do a white cloud, but I'm going to make a slight change to the white cloud. Okay, we're going to start same basic way. Apparently, I've got to do a double because it's the only way that there's anything in that glass. So we're going to go a full ounce of coconut cream. Right, there's a full ounce of coconut cream. I'm going to try something a little slightly different here, which before pouring the coconut cream in, I am going to actually pour the lime juice into the coconut cream because my jigger is big enough to do that. So we're going to go a full ounce of lime juice. So now I have lime juice floating on top of the coconut cream. I was kind of hoping for a little better mixing of that. So, sheesh, is there anything I can do in order to make that happen? Well, I could take a bar spoon, do this. And what I'm hoping here is that if I mix inside the jigger, that I will get a little better clearing of this out of the jigger. Oh, that looks much better. Yep. And you should be noticing a complete difference as I pour this out. That it is much thinner, pours much easier. And I get actually a lot more of the coconut cream comes out of there. So that's a win as far as I'm concerned. We're going to go 1/4 ounce of the dry curacao again. Except we're going to double that to a 1/2 ounce. 1/2 ounce. And then, because Star said we should, I'm going to use a little bit of the creme de banana that we just got from Tempest Fugit. I'm going to go with a 1/2 ounce. We're going to match the orange curacao. And there's not quite enough of that left, and I could use the Ducoupier, but I'm not going to. How's that? Because I don't need an artificial banana and a real banana flavor in there. I will say, if you're going to do something with banana liqueur in it, and you have a choice of 2 banana liqueurs, one of like artificially flavored like the Ducoupier, do not mix them. That is not going to get you a result that you want. Go one or the other, please. All right, so that goes in there. And then we need 2 ounces of our Puerto Rican rum. Again, we're going to go with the scryer. I could switch this up. I could put a little more funk to this. So why don't I do that? So there's 1.5 ounces of the scryer, Puerto Rican rum. I don't want to go to anything too wacky, too wild here, because I don't want to overpower the scryer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach for a Demerara, which is going to play nicely with those orange notes. So I've got 1.5 ounces of the scryer. We're going to go 1/2 ounce of the Eldorado 8-year. That goes in there. And this is just taking a really, really basic drink, adding a couple of little complicating factors to it, and seeing what we get. I have no idea. I've never made the White Cloud. I've never made this, whatever this is. Bananas on a White Cloud? We'll find out. All right, a little more ice in there, a little more shaky, and then we're going to pour into the snifter. Cold enough. Cold enough. So I said I was going to make 3 drinks this evening. Apparently I'm making 4 because I decided I'm going to do this other riff on the White Cloud. Mostly because, well, I had another snifter glass here that needed to be filling with something?
Needed to be filling.
Need to be filling. There we go. That looks better. Just a shaky. Sneak that in here. Well, that's kind of delightful. I'm going to do a little shake of some allspice and cinnamon on top of that. Oh yeah. I don't think we need an orchid for this. Just do a little swirl. Spices come through. Oddly enough, there's a banana flavor to this, or a banana smell to this now. That is, that's beginning to edge into painkiller territory, but that is quite delightful. I don't get as much orange, because the orange and the banana are sort of fighting, but there's definitely a fruitier flavor to this. So, dear Star, do you want to taste some of this?
Yes.
Well, tough. No. The banana isn't really forward, but you can tell that it's a different drink.
Well, that's good too.
Yeah, I think the straight up White Cloud is a cleaner, crisper drink.
Mm-hmm.
And would probably be better for, I don't know, hanging out at the beach.
Yeah.
If you're very tired and very hot. But once you've come in from the beach and you're lounging around and waiting for your husband to make you dinner, this would be perfectly suitable, yummy drink. Still, not a very complicated drink. Coconut cream, lime, some rum, and then 1 or 2 little seasoning ingredients like curacao or some banana liqueur. So right, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, and quite delightful as a cocktail. Not overly sweet. Star did not mention that she got other things. So one of the other things that she got, her dear husband has been trying to find some artwork to get her from one of her and my favorite Tiki artists, and that is Shag. And I keep not being able to get artwork by him, so I went ahead and got her one of his books. So this was one of my birthday presents to her, is the collected works of Shag. It's just got some amazing stuff in it. You've seen, almost assuredly, you've seen some of his stuff. You know the style, very mid-century modern. It's just very cool stuff. We like it. She's paged through it already and quite likes it. So, apparently that was a big hit. David and Chris were not done with us. in addition to the Mr. Black, they decided that there was a hole in our library, and that hole needed to be filled up with a book on cognac. So we have the Cognac Companion, which I have. Star has cracked it because she slipped the gift receipt in, but I have. This is the first time I'm actually looking at it. I will have to spend some quality time with that some evening or two or three and go through. But that brings us to probably our next drink, right? Because Dave and Chris got us the Mr. Black, so therefore we should do a drink that uses the Mr. Black. So that seems like a good thing to do. So what are we going to do for the second drink? The second drink? Really, this is the only thing. I don't understand what's happening tonight. I want my jellyfish back. Pout, pout. Come on, guys. Wakey, wakey. Apparently our water pump is not working. We took it apart, put it back together. It worked. We shut it off to go run some errands. We came back, and now it won't start up for us. So I don't know what the deal is. Who knows? But for the second drink, we are revisiting a drink that we have done before. A drink that has its own mug. This is a Mr. Bali High mug. This, you can tell it's a Mr. Bali High mug because it says Bali High Restaurant on the back of it. And it says Mr. Bali High, made exclusively for the Bali High Restaurant in San Diego, California. And the fact that I own this mug at all is due to one of my dearest friends on the planet, some of my dearest friends on the planet, Richard and Annette Smith. So shout out to you guys. Thank you so much for that. We are going to put the appropriate drink in here, which is a Mr. Bali High, which uses coffee liqueur. Funny that we happen to have some coffee liqueur. Mr. Bali High, shaken cocktail, but it's shaken with crushed ice instead of the usual rocks or cubes, because we want to get a little more dilution off of that. And then we're just going to dump that whole thing into the mug here. I'm only going to make a single, a ½ ounce of a rich sugar syrup. So I have a 2-to-1 simple syrup right here. And so ½ ounce. Once again, I am doing my usual trick of starting with the sweet ingredient. Usually the sweet ingredients are the ones that will stick to the sides of your jigger. So that's why I do it this way, is just to clean that out. We are also, as we are doing this, we are firmly leaving the realm of lime juice and going into lemon juice. I don't know what it is. I have not played around to see what the deal is, but it seems to me that cocktails that have coffee in them, if they call for a citrus component, often call for lemon instead of lime. I don't recall seeing a coffee ingredient and a lime ingredient in the same cocktail. So there's that. I need 1 ounce of lemon juice. There it is. Looks remarkably like the lime juice, except it doesn't have a pretty blue label on it, or ugly blue label on it, that says lime. Okay, 1 ounce lemon juice. Then we need 3/4 of an ounce of coffee brandy, or in this case, Mr. Black cold brew coffee liqueur. Let's see, nifty. If in fact we'd had a studio audience, I was planning on doing a testing of the Mr. Black version against a Kahlua, against a homemade Kahlua, and we'd see how that would go. That's not going to happen this evening because there's only 1.5 of us that are drinking, because I know Star. Star's the one, I'm the half, because I have to talk. What did I say? This is 3/4 of an ounce, right? I suddenly had a brain fart and I was like, 1.5 ounces? What? No, I'm not making a double this time. So there's 3/4 of an ounce Mr. Black. Then the recipe calls for 1 ounce of light rum. Light rum. Light rum could be just about anything, but as I look on the Total Tiki app and see what they have listed for light rum, I do note that one of the light rums they recommend is the White Stash from Hamilton. So we're going to take them up on that, and we are going to go with 1 ounce of the White Stash Hamilton rum. I mentioned that we quite like Hamilton. Ed Hamilton imports a lot of really good things. So I'm kind of impressed with this taste. Then we need 1.5 ounces of a dark Jamaican. Now we could go really, really funky here, or we could play nice with some of the other ingredients. I'm going to play nice. I am going to go with a little pricier ingredient instead of using, we are going to go Appleton, but instead of using, say, the Appleton Signature or Reserve, I'm going to go ahead and go with my Appleton 12-year. I really love what the Appleton 12-year does in cocktails, so that's what we're going to do here. This actually is 1.5 ounces, so I'm going to go 3/4 and then 3/4. You are dripping on my pad. That's not good. You are too good a rum to drip onto the pad with. There we go. All right, so there's 1.5 ounces of the dark Jamaican rum. That's it. That's all that goes into this. There's no bitters, nothing else. So we've got simple syrup, we've got lemon juice, coffee liqueur, light rum, and a dark Jamaican rum. We're going to shake this with a whole mess of crushed ice, and then we're going to pour it into a Mr. Bali High mug. My whole mess, I'm going to go with a heaping scoopful of the crushed ice, just like that. I am going to throw like 3 bigger cubes in there, just to get some muscle behind this. Shake this all up. Totally different sound than shaking. Sounds a lot more like maracas. So this drink has a long history as well. It's not quite as long as the White Cloud. This recipe probably dates back to about 1960 and is the signature cocktail of the Bali High Club, which is still in existence, still doing just fine in San Diego, California. All right, so we're gonna just pour this right in. We're gonna note this is a really big mug, so we're gonna add a little more crushed ice to that. And by a little more, I mean almost an entire other scoop. And when you look up the garnish for the Mr. Bali High, it says you should be using a Bali High mug, and therefore you should just be putting the top on him and sticking straws in it, and then call it done. So that's what we're going to do. We are going to grab a couple of metal straws here, because they will fit into the Mr. Bali High mug. And this is the one thing I dislike about this mug, is that the 2 straw holes look kind of like antennae coming off of here. And I'm pretty sure Mr. Bali High was not intended to be an alien.
An alien?
Right? So we're going to bump our heads here as we both try and reach in and take a sip of the Mr. Bali High cocktail.
That's yummy.
I got to say, the coffee really comes through there.
Mm-hmm.
The coffee is a significant player in that.
Yep.
That is, I would almost, Mr. Black seems really strong. I might cut that back to a 1/2 ounce.
I can see that.
Although, no, here's what I didn't do this. I should have done that before handing this drink off. I should
have let it sit.
Let it sit. Because I think...
Well, I'll let it sit over on the table.
Are you going to bring it back sometime? Maybe. Hopefully.
Maybe.
Because I'm going to get parched up here because the next drink is a really long one.
Okay.
So, well, no, you can take it away, but you just have to bring it back at some point.
Okay.
The things we do, right? So apparently, David and Chris were not the only ones to have decided that there were holes in the cocktail library here at Lovecraft Cocktails. Did we get anything Lovecraftian? No, not particularly, but we did get more stuff for the library. So when we say Lovecraft Cocktails, it is really meant to be a pun. It is both Lovecraft, as in H.P. Lovecraft and the H.P. Lovecraft mythos, but it is also a love of craft cocktails. And so occasionally we branch out from the total tiki-ness of this all, and we get something like this, the Bar Chef. And I am looking very forward to delving into this. Frankie's cocktails are more than drinks. They're a liquid dinner and an exotic gourmet meal. Now, if that doesn't make you want to go, huh, that sounds yummy, then you can take a look at things like this picture of the vanilla and hickory smoked Manhattan and go, Yeah, okay. I'm on board for that. That sounds like a thing that I should try at some point. So I'm looking forward to inspiration from here and maybe doing some cocktails out of the bar chef at some point. But then again, we are pretty tiki around here, and so what sort of tiki bar is not does not have a copy of Trader Vic's Book of Food and Drink? And here you go. Doesn't have
There
this
was an article.
right. So this doesn't have the slipcover on it. We did put out there was an article that we sent around off of the Lovecraft Cocktails page that had influential tiki books, and this is one of those. So Trader Vic's Book of Food and Drink, and the interesting thing here is the emphasis on the food portion of it. There is a lot of recipes in here that talk about food and what kind of food to serve with tiki and the batching and pairing of tiki drinks to food, and some notes at the end about like putting together a tiki party and all that sort of thing. They're a little wrong. I'm not going to say that because we get into this section at the back end on Trader Vic's Book of Food and Drink talks barbecuing, and well, I spent too long in Kansas City. Yeah, he's just wrong on some of those pieces, but what are we
But
talking?
it was $50 less without a slipcover. So,
Right. Okay. The slipcover would have been $50 more. So yeah, I'm happy to be not having the slipcover. Book was originally published in 1946, and as I was scanning through the list of recommended rums, I was saddened by the significant, just the sheer number of rums that are no longer produced anymore that we just simply can't get our hands on. Um, if you happen to be roaming around the United States, I'm not sure why you would at this point, but if you happen to be roaming around the United States and you're looking for tiki, we do have a guide to tiki culture in North America by James Teitelbaum. This is produced in, I believe, 2007. I can double check that if you wanted, but so it is a little out of date. And come on, with things like COVID happening, who knows what's still there? But this is a great little guide to, hey, I happen to be in this state near this particular city. What kinds of tiki-esque things are there? And it's not just tiki bars, right? So these are places that sell tiki stuff or tiki merchandise or just kitschy mid-century America stuff, hotels and motels that have a tiki theme to it. I just randomly opened this up, and we have Tiki's Hawaiian Massage at 1978 California Street in Berkeley. So yeah, who knows? Massage parlors, um, Orchid of Hawaii, so restaurants, the Pago Pago, all over the place. Just an insane little guide to, hey, what might be around here that is vaguely tiki related. Now, you do probably want to use this in conjunction with something connected to the internet to make sure these things are still in place. But you can always go past and say, right there used to be the Tiki Massage Parlor, and it's no longer there. So, it's just a fun little book, and I really look forward to going through once we can travel again responsibly and crossing a whole bunch of things off in this book. There are certainly, I will tell you, there are many things in here that are still in place. The Tonga Room is listed here. I know they're still going. So that's kind of cool. I'm drinking this because I got to get my juices up because the next drink is a long one. Yeah, so if you thought the White Cloud was easy and the Mr. Valley High was like, that's a little more complicated, but man, not too bad. Yeah, we're going to blow your socks off with the next one because it's complicated. It's not complicated in that it's hard to make. It's complicated in the sheer number of ingredients that are going into this cocktail. And I'm operating off of what is essentially tribute recipes to this. So the third drink this evening is the Black Magic. And the Black Magic is one of those great cocktails that has been on the Mai Kai menu for years and years and years. So the Mai Kai is sort of the mothership of all things tiki in the United States. It is out of Fort Lauderdale. They are currently closed. They suffered significant damage, physical damage during COVID, and then ran afoul of building codes and that sort of thing because they were grandfathered in, but if they do extensive repairs and they're no longer grandfathered, it's a mess. But apparently, latest word is the renovations are occurring, and they are really hoping to be back up and running by December So that would be very good news to all Tiki fanatics out there everywhere that the Mai Kai, the mothership, will be back up and running. The Black Magic has been on their menu not necessarily all the time, but for very long periods of time. The menu at the Mai Kai has had a Black Magic on it. And right now they are doing like sidewalk sales and that sort of, here, let's get together in the parking lot of the Mai Kai and bring everybody together and celebrate all things Tiki and Mai Kai. And the Mai Kai will sell you like gallon jugs of some of their cocktails, like the rum barrel and their version of the Mai Tai. And one of the drinks that they do, because it's so freaking popular, is the Black Magic. So we're going to do this, but we are going to do a slightly different version because the Black Magic does in fact call for coffee. Not coffee liqueur, not coffee brandy, no, coffee. I could brew up coffee, but I got a bottle of Mr. Black right here, so I'm going to go ahead and use that instead of, and that's going to ramp up my alcohol quotient, so I'm going to try and keep the potency of the rums that I use down a little bit. And we'll see how this goes. So we're going to do a Black Magic tribute to the Mai Kai's Black Magic because they won't tell anybody how it's made because they're still in business and it's kind of a Tiki thing to not tell people how your drinks are made. So we're going to do that. There are 3 different rums in here, which is a great segue into the fact that what is today? Today is August 15th, right? Mm-hmm. Today is August 15th. Anyone out there aside from my wife know what August 16th is and why August 16th might be important? I said aside from my wife who's sitting there going, me, I do, just because it's written on my board up here and because I reminded her of it this morning. But anybody? While I'm making the Black Magic, you can think about it and see why August 16th might be an important date for us. Anyway, what are we going to do? This is a blended drink. We're going to do Spindle Blender. So here's our spindle tin. Blender tin, spindle blender tin, whatever. This takes honey syrup. So I have to make sure that I have my honey syrup. You notice that we were a little late getting started today. Many things going on. So I'm going to duck down here and see if I can find my honey syrup.
Last time I saw it was right there.
It's right here. It's not under here anymore. It used to be. And then I got clever and said, no, I'm going to put it here where I can get to it, because that would be smart. Okay, we're going to go with 3/4 of an ounce of rich honey syrup. Rich honey syrup is just 2 parts honey to 1 part water. So 3/4 of an ounce rich honey syrup. And then we get to our fruit juices. Woohoo! We have 3 different fruit juices in here, one of which is in my back room. Because I'm me. The other 2 I actually have on hand. The first one is lime juice. So 1.25 ounces of lime juice. Lime juice right here. So we are going to go There's a quarter. Oh, there's an ounce. 1.25 ounces. Then there's 1.25 ounces of orange juice. The wife is missing the cue that I said that there was a juice in the back room that I needed.
Keith says that
what does Keith say?
Day after Keith and Amy's anniversary.
Well, I mean, that might be an important thing.
Today is their anniversary.
Well, congratulations, Keith and Amy. What a great day to have your anniversary on.
Oh, we have an answer from Amanda.
Why did I know that the answer was going to come from Amanda? So, 1.25 ounces, by the way, of the second of the fruit juices, which is orange juice. And what does Amanda think August 16th is?
Rum Day.
It is, in fact. August 16th is national, not international, is National Rum Day. There is also an International Rum Day. It's later in the year, and we'll get to that at some point. So, there should be drinking of rum tomorrow. And Keith, if that means celebrating your wondrous anniversary with your wife by drinking rum, I can wholeheartedly support that. Although right now, what I need is 1.25 ounces of grapefruit juice, and that only exists in the back room. So I can either disappear, or Star can go get me a can of white grapefruit juice from the back room. While she's doing that, we're going to move on to the next ingredient, which is 1.5 ounces of coffee. And they're very explicit here about not using a concentrate. So you're not using like an espresso, you're not using a coffee syrup, you're just using coffee. So I have a hunch, this may be dangerous, that using the Mr. Black is going to get us into trouble because, wow, it's very coffee. So there's a decent chance I'm going to overpower this by using the Mr. Black.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with, it's supposed to be 1.5 ounces. I'm going to drop that down to 1.25 ounces.
I think that might be too much.
Well, okay. Then Star thinks it's too much. So how about if we start with, we'll just cut it in half, go with 0.75 ounces? All right.
I think so.
She thinks the Mr. Black is pretty pungent stuff, so we're just going to go with 0.75 ounces.
What is that?
Either that, or she's a little afraid of getting snockered because we're adding alcohol to this cocktail, and it already has significant amounts of cocktail in it, spirit, alcohol, yummy stuff. We're going with 1.25 ounces of the white grapefruit juice, which is going to spray all over the place because that's what grapefruit juice does. 1.25 ounces. There's 0.75. There's a half. What do you think? All right, cool. So we got the honey, we got the orange, we got the lime, we've got the grapefruit, we got the coffee. It's time to get to some rums, because that would be a good thing to do, because tomorrow's National Rum Day. So we're going to go 1.5 ounces of a dark Jamaican rum. Okay, so I'm going to reach for another Hamilton. We're going to go with the Jamaican Pot Still Gold, because why? Because I want to. Because I have a bunch of Jamaican rums, and a lot of them are fairly dark and heavy, and I haven't been using this one for a while, so I'm going to try this. So we're going to go 1.5 ounces of dark Jamaican rum. I could use the Hamilton Pot Still Black, but there is a black rum in this that is going to be in this as well, so I didn't really want to double up on that. They want 1 ounce of the Spanish-style rum, a lightly aged, clear Spanish-style rum. So I'm going to go with the Diplomatico. So Diplomatico is a product of Venezuela. Venezuela was settled by the Spanish. They do their rums in the Spanish style. So this is perfectly in keeping with what they're asking here. So we're going to go 1 ounce of the Diplomatico Blanco. I've not used the Diplomatico Blanco in a while. I think part of it is that I started to get really down toward the end of this bottle. And I was like, but I don't want it to all go away. And then I realized, you know, I should just use it, because if I like it, use it, right? So there's 1 ounce. And then the last thing is 1 ounce of a dark black rum. And in that case, we're going to go with the Pampero Aniversario. This shows up in Martin Cate's listing of black rums. And I'm okay with that. I've used this as my black rum of choice for quite a while, and I quite like it. It works for me. It's a blend of rums from around the Caribbean, and it just seems to work. I like it better than doing something like Myers or Gosling's or something along those lines. So we're going to go with 1 ounce of that. One ounce.
We have a Flora.
Hey, Flora. All right. So if I were to stop there, you would say, well, gee, I mean, that's kind of complicated. You got 3 rums, you got 3 fruit juices, you got some honey syrup, and you got some coffee in there. That's complicated. But we don't stop there. So, of course we don't. So there's 2 dashes of, we're going to go with the easy ingredient first. The ingredient that hopefully y'all should have, which is some Angostura bitters. I'm going to look very carefully at this bottle because the last time I did anything with Angostura bitters, I sliced my hand open. That bottle has gone away, so I shouldn't have any problems here. We're going to go 2 dashes of the Angostura bitters. So there's 1 and 2. 2 dashes, that's it, that's all. Ta-da! And then we're done, right? No, we're totally not done here, because next up is Dawn's Spices. Shoot! All right, okay, so Dawn Spices. So here's the deal. in the early days of Tiki, and sort of, I alluded to this earlier here about people keeping their recipes secret. It used to be a thing to steal people's recipes. And so you wanted to be able to keep those secret even if you didn't keep the same bartender. So if your bartender left and they had the recipes, then they could wander off with your recipes and replicate them somewhere else. So what Don Beach started doing is started crafting his own mixes and bottling those mixes with just labels on them, and then specifying how much of that mix would go into the cocktail. So in this case, you might have seen, if you were working at one of Don Beach's restaurants, you would have seen a recipe that said 1 teaspoon of Dawn Spices number 2, and you go find the bottle that says Dawn Spices number 2, and you would put a teaspoon of that stuff into your cocktail. Okay, well, we have 2 of those ingredients in this cocktail, so this is going to be kind of amusing. So first of all, Dawn Spices is just an even split of vanilla, syrup, and allspice dram. Okay, that's great. That's easy enough to do. I have some spice syrup in the back room, and I have some allspice dram. So we can go ahead and do that, but I only need a teaspoon of it, so I'm going to have to mix this up and then dole out a teaspoon, because that's going to be a thing. So while that's being fetched, we will talk about the next ingredient. So the next ingredient is still being discussed as to what exactly might be in this. So this is an ingredient, a combination of ingredients that is known at the Maikai as number 7, or it is sometimes known as Mariano's number 7, because Mariano used it in a number of cocktails. Yes, it's the same Mariano that did the White Cloud. He was head bartender at the Maikai for quite a while. Thank you. There's my spice syrup. Yay! So what we're going to do is we're going to try and recreate the number 7 at the Black Magic. And in case you're wondering, how am I getting all this information about how to build the Black Magic? It's because I frequently hop online at Atomic Grog, and they do tribute recipes to their favorite cocktails at the Maikai. And so this is how I find out about these things and pay attention to them and figure out what's what. All right, so what are we going to do here? Well, the first thing we want is Dawn Spices, number 2. So that's even amount of vanilla spice and allspice. So I want just a 1/4 ounce here, because we only need a teaspoon, right? See? Cough, cough. Come on. Come on. There we go. And then I'm going to make this a 1/4 ounce by filling this with allspice dram. And I'm going to go ahead and just use, well, I could use Chris's. No, I'm going to save Chris's for good stuff. Because there's a chance the rest of this goes away. So I don't want to use up Chris's really yummy allspice dram for that. So I'm just going to make this another 1/4 ounce, and that'll give me a total of a 1/2 ounce of Dawn's Spice Mix number 2. I was a little surprised that I didn't have a bottle of Dawn's Spice Mix number 2 sitting out here somewhere. Celery bitters, blackberry bitters, vanilla, sassafras bitters, magnolia. Nope, I apparently do not. That seems very strange to me. I know I've made it up in the past. Perhaps I stuck it in the fridge. I don't know. In any case, we're going to do a quick mix of this. And then I'm going to dollop out a teaspoon in here. I told you this was complicated. So this is why you would have all of these mixes already done in little vials, squeeze bottles, etc. behind the back bar. And again, like I said, the recipe would merely say, 1/4 ounce of this particular thing. You wouldn't have any idea what's in there, but you would follow the recipe and it would come out yummy and tasty. And somewhere, really, it's like, wait, I have a teaspoon measure somewhere. 1 teaspoon, right? Am I correct? 1 teaspoon Dawn Spices number 2. Got it. There we go. Drop that in there. And yes, am I cheating a little bit? I absolutely am, because Dawn's Spice Mix uses vanilla syrup, and I don't keep vanilla syrup. I don't keep cinnamon syrup. What I do keep is my spice syrup, And we're just going to use that. It's going to add some other spice notes to this, but that'll be fine. Now we need a full half ounce of Mariano's mix. So Mariano's mix is a combination of falernum and absinthe. And we're not using a whole lot of this. So it's only, well, actually, yeah, it is a half ounce. So we need a quarter teaspoon of absinthe to start this mess with. Okay, so quarter teaspoon absinthe. Oh, my absinthe is over here. Really have to get used to that my mixes are over here, my bitters are over there. All right, so what are we going to do? We are going to go with a quarter teaspoon of absinthe. And right here is a quarter teaspoon.
So
Okay, right. So what else goes in here? So it's absinthe and it's falernum. We need a tablespoon of falernum. We're going to do John D. Taylor's Velvet Falernum. This is a teaspoon, so we need 3 of those. 1, 2, 3. Ta-da! All right. So what do we have? We now have something a little over a half ounce, somewhere between a half and a 3/4 of an ounce of Mariano's No. 7. Simple 2-ingredient mix, absinthe and falernum. The actual Mariano's No. 7 supposedly uses herb saint, which was what people were using when they couldn't get absinthe, and they recommend substituting if you can't get herb saint, you can substitute absinthe and then cut it back because they want the absinthe to be a player but not the primary player. I'm like, look, if you're gonna have absinthe in a drink, have absinthe in a drink. So we're going ahead with the full glory here. We need a half ounce. We have a we need half ounce. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Half ounce. Make sure we got this right. Yep, there we go. There's a half ounce. I almost poured it in here and then poured that in there, but this is the Dawn spices, and I don't want to do that because the Dawn spices that are necessary are already in the cocktail. So we'll see how this works. All right. Honey syrup, orange juice, lime juice, grapefruit juice, coffee, or in this case coffee liqueur, dark Jamaican rum, lightly aged Spanish rum, a dark black rum, in this case Pampero Aniversario, half ounce of Mariano's No. 7, a teaspoon of Dawn spices, and 2 dashes Angostura bitters. Now that's a tiki cocktail, right? So then we get to how much ice should I put in this? Loads. Loads is what they say. They say use lots and lots of ice in this. And then you're going to blend it. And then we're going to throw this in a cocktail glass. All right, so I'm going to go, they say 2 cups minimum. So I'm just going to go, there's a scoop, second scoop. Seems like it's probably about right. Throw in a couple of agitator cubes in there. There's 1, 2, 3. Shake those down a bit. And then this is not a flash blend. This is a little longer blend. This is 8 to 10 seconds. I'm going to shove those cubes down in there. Yeah, that needs blending. All right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Call it. Should get us in the vicinity of 8 to 10 seconds. Oh, that's big and frothy. This is also a big format drink. I should have specified that ahead of time. So we are going to need a tiki mug of some size to put this in. It's Black Magic. I don't know, hon. I'm thinking maybe the Jaguar mug down on the 3rd shelf. You want to do that?
I'm going to give you a little bit of this.
Okay, she's going to give me some of this while she goes and grabs a mug. Okay. So we've got the Jaguar Warrior mug. So that's a little bit of some Black Magic, right? The whole Aztecian warrior thing.
By Brad Perker.
Excellent. See? Ta-da! That looks very Aztec-y warrior thing. Sagrado Sangre del Jaguar. The sacred blood of the jaguar. And we're going to put black magic in that because, yeah, why wouldn't you? Right? All right, so this is just going to go right in here. I'm impressed because that's a powerful lot of drink, and that pretty well filled up the Jaguar mug. We are going to add a little more crushed ice to that. Ho, 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 ho.
It smells yummy.
Does it smell yummy? So letting this sit for a moment or two. We should garnish this, and the garnish for this says use spirals of citrus. So we're just going to take some spirals of citrus, put them on top there. We've got some lemon, we've got some orange. There we go. Just going to do that. Stick that on top. It's got all sorts of like tendrils and things hanging down. That seems like it's an okay thing. Got a bunch of crushed ice in here, so we want a large bore straw. And who makes large bore straws out of glass that look like bamboo? I don't know. How about Surfside Sips? Yep, so we're going to go with some couple of Surfside Sip straws. We're going to stick one in there, and we're going to stick this one on the other side.
Because he thinks he's getting some.
Right there. That goes in there. You could add other things to this as garnish if you wished. You could add some mint to it if you wanted to. But I think this is probably going to be fine. I'm hoping this works out well. We are experimenting a little because we cut back on the coffee.
Mr. Black.
Oh, the coffee's there. I could maybe use a little more coffee. Oh, well, maybe not. There's a reason why. I've made the black magic several times before. This is very good.
Yeah.
I could do with a little tinge more coffee to it, but oh, that's good. I don't know what is that flavor at the end. It's almost chocolatey.
It is.
It's like a mocha flavor at the end of this, which you would not suspect from the ingredients that are in here.
I don't know.
That came together exceptionally well, and once again reinforces that the black magic is going to be one of the drinks that I order when we finally ever get to the Mai Kai. You cannot close until we get there. Please don't close while we're there either. That would be bad, right? How about just not closing? That would be good. Yep. Oh, that's really good. So apparently that's the right call. Star says the 3/4 of an ounce of Mr. Black was the right call. I think I could go with another 1/4 ounce in there and be happy. But part of that is probably because I amped up the absinthe end of things, because the absinthe that I'm using, Mount Defiance's absinthe, is a potent step forward absinthe. This is not some pussyfoot little herb saint going on here. So that may be why some of the absinthe notes are a little stronger than maybe you would want in your black magic, but I don't know. That's a really, really good drink. Absolutely. Really yummy. So what have we done this evening? We've done 2 versions of the White Cloud. We did a standard White Cloud. Then we did a White Cloud with bananas, because, I don't know, White Clouds need bananas? I guess, maybe. That's still here in front of me. That's still really quite nice. It's not Mr. Bali High or Black Magic kind of complicated in terms of all the flavors that are going on, but the White Cloud is still a quite nice cocktail. If you like a painkiller, if you like pina coladas, give the White Cloud a try. The Mr. Bali High, I gotta say, I think the Mr. Black is just a little too potent for the Bali High, and so we probably have to back that off a little bit. Instead of 3/4 of an ounce, probably go with 1/2 ounce, and that should dial in just fine there. And the Black Magic is just yummy. So there you go. So there were other things. Oh, right. I haven't even had a chance to open this yet. So this is the next issue of Exotica Moderne. And if you decide you want to get into Tiki stuff, this is kind of cool. This magazine comes out like quarterly or something. There's always like a little gifty thing in here. There's a flexi disc, which I'm not sure how I'm playing that. Hopefully it'll just play off of a CD
No,
player.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
a turntable.
It's a turntable. Oh my gosh. I'm not sure how we're getting that one transferred. Oh no, it is. It absolutely is because it says 45 RPM in the bottom corner. Yeah, I don't know how that's happening around here. But the issue always has interviews with people, what's happening in the tiki music world, a drink recipe or two, some interviews with folks that are running tiki bars. And it's just kind of a cool catch up on what's happening in the tiki world around the country, around the world. So that's kind of nifty. So I'm going to call it quits there. I think that seems like a good plan, right? White Cloud, Mr. Bally High, Black Magic, the White Cloud with bananas in it. I don't know what to call that. White Cloud with bananas. White cloudy bananas. Cloudy with a chance of bananas. Something like that. I don't know. So we should all wish happy birthday to my lovely star. His birthday was Friday. And tomorrow, if you're not doing anything else tomorrow,
Drink rum.
drink some rum. Help celebrate National Rum Day. Lord knows I plan on doing that sometime Monday evening. I gotta go into work. After work, yeah, we're gonna have some rum. So it'll all be good. Maybe I'll post some tasting notes from the rums that we drink tomorrow evening because we could do that. So let's sign off. This has been Quarantiki number 70. This is the Happy Birthday to Star episode, and we will talk to all of you next week, or at least as many of you as decide to show up and tune in. And thank you and bless you for doing so, because we do this for you. Okay, I do it a little bit for me, kind of for us, but a lot for you. So, and we wouldn't do this if you guys didn't tune in. So please keep coming back. Give us an excuse to drink more rum